Welcome back, film fans. Got a bit of a different one for you today. This is a bit more of a niche one, admittedly, but it's timely nonetheless because for those of you that are Pink Floyd or David Gilmour fans, as I am, as you can see evidently by the t-shirt, also by the picture lurking in the background, and you've probably seen me wear other t-shirts in the past if you are a subscriber or follower of this channel. Yeah, gives away I'm a massive Pink Floyd David Gilmour fan. His new album is out for release, Looking Strange, this week, end of this week. So as at the time of recording anyway. And with that, he is also touring again, albeit a select few dates. As far as I'm aware, only in England, US, couple in Italy, not just Rome, I think, or maybe it is just Rome. And I think that's it off the top of my head. It's a select few dates, and it was a very in-demand tour, so of course tickets sold very quickly. I've got tickets, not to boast or brag, I don't mean it in that way, but I luckily got tickets to one of the gigs that he's doing at the Royal Albert Hall. So luckily, very luckily got, like I say, got tickets to that, so I'm really excited. It's not the first time I'm seeing him. This t-shirt is actually from the last tour that he did for Rattle That Lock, the tour that he did for that album. And I saw him at the Royal Albert Hall there twice, actually, at the beginning of the tour and at the end of the tour. One of the very first dates and one of the very last dates, actually. And of course, being a fan, I thought it was incredible. And so, you know, I thought that was the last time actually he was ever going to perform, David Gilmour. For those of you that don't know, by the way, unless I don't know if you're still tuned in, that is, because I would assume you are if you are fans of David Gilmour, but if you're not, and you don't know aware of who he is, he's the guitarist from Pink Floyd, the lead guitarist. So I've been a fan of them since I was a kid. And yeah, I just thought as a result of him touring and introducing this new album to us, releasing it, Looking Strange, I thought I'd go through, in the spirit of this channel, some of the physical media releases that I have of not, I want to say not Pink Floyd, but I'm cheating a little bit here with these, but just to kind of go, you know, kind of give a bit of context up to this point of the tour that will be commencing in about a month's time, I believe. So yeah, with that, let's get started. I'm going to start with, this is the cheat, which is because it is, I'm not going to go through all the CDs that I own, but this is a CD of the Pulse tour, which is the kind of last, you know, proper Pink Floyd tour concert that happened in '94. And this, so I had the first thing I ever owned was the 2004 Pulse DVD, 2-disc DVD. That, I say 2004, and that feels so long ago, but it was a long time coming for us Pink Floyd fans. It felt like we didn't get a decent release of that. We kind of had to settle for like kind of bootleg copies or the broadcast copies if anyone had those recorded floating around. So it was 2004 was like a long time coming for that, which I do own somewhere still. And it took me a few years afterwards to get this because I just thought it was the same concert. Where actually you have variant performances of the same songs on here, as well as different included songs altogether, such as Hey You is on here, and Astonishing Me Mind's on here, yeah. What Do You Want From Me? I think, and Great Day for Freedom is on here as well. So a few more different tracks from the Division Bell album, which is what this tour essentially was. Touring at the time was the kind of Division Bell album, but they were also doing whole performances of The Dark Side of the Moon, which is of course their most well-known and most highly regarded album. Although of course Animals has seen a real critical resurgence in recent years, which is probably perhaps their angriest album, and I think that has probably a lot to do with it because of the kind of politically polarising times that we live in. I think Animals speaks to particularly younger fans of Pink Floyd a lot more than it does, say, a bit more the kind of genteel or mournful vibes of perhaps, say, Wish You Were Here or something. I think, like I say, Animals resonates a lot more, which is a shame because David Gilmour, for those of you that are aware, is not a huge fan of that album, or at least he doesn't play any songs ever from that album when he's touring solo. So yeah, it is a shame, but because I'm a huge fan of Animals as well. And with this tour, anyone forewarned that is going and doesn't know, it looks like Gilmour has said he's not going to be playing many Pink Floyd tracks. There is an article that came out that said that he's backtracked a bit on that, probably because of maybe a bit of backlash, or it's probably a silly thing to say, because a lot of people just essentially do want to see him play the oldies, even if he is touring this new album, which I've heard a couple of tracks of, Looking Strange by the way, and yeah, it sounds like a good album. I've pre-ordered the album, and that is due, and I'll probably do a video of like an unboxing and packaging of that when it does arrive for you guys, if anyone that is interested. Like I said, I don't know how this video is going to be received, because it is a bit off the beaten track really, because it's not really about films as it were, but that's the CD release of the Pulse Tour. And then about I think it was 2021, we finally got a remastered version of the Pulse gig. And this is complete with the blinking red light that the original design used to have. I don't have the batteries in at the moment, so but it's a hardbound case. It comes with a nice, if I can get it out, it comes with a nice booklet. I say booklet, it's a bit more impressive as a kind of, book with photos from the tour and whatnot. And Pink Floyd obviously very renowned for their artwork as well as their light tour, their lighting and their gigs. But 2 discs again, Dark Side of the Moonhole performance, as well as tracks from Division Band and some other oldies as well. A host of extras on here. I mean, this is a really famous gig now, right? I mean, you see a lot of people kind of react to it on YouTube and whatnot, and yeah, it's probably one of the most iconic rock gigs of all time, which is interesting because it doesn't have obviously one of its original members. Some might argue its most important member, Roger Waters, but it is a fantastic gig, and it's something I kind of grew up on. It's from as far back as I can remember, so it's very entrenched in my memory. If I had to pick like favourite tracks off it, it's really hard because I like all of them, but being a massive Floyd fan, but I would say, I mean, Comfortably Numb is, of course, that's considered one of the best live guitar performances ever, but I think Sorrow is fantastic. Coming Back to Life always hits hard. High Hopes is the solo on High Hopes. The tone that Gilmour has on there on the slide is fantastic. Shine On's always great, of course. Seldom, he doesn't really play Another Brick in the Wall anymore, so that's one that is quite nice to hear. It's just nice to hear as well all of Dark Side played in its kind of entirety as well, because I think it's certainly an album that benefits from all the songs being played in their entirety. But yeah, that's the nice snazzy release of that. It was not just restored but also re-edited, so it's showing like alternate camera angles and stuff. I don't think it has any further edits than what already was on the 2004 DVD version, because actually you can find unedited versions of, say, Sorrow and Comfortably Numb, which are longer, because Gilmour, being the perfectionist that he is, kind of takes out some of the fluffs that he makes, shall we say. But I wish it was just in his unedited form, really, but that's the purist in me, I suppose. And then moving on to solo stuff, we've got David Gilmour live at the Royal Albert Hall, which is of course where I saw him, but I didn't see him on this because I would have been, not that I would have been too young at the time, but I just never really thought at the time. It's really, with me in concert going, it's really strange because it's like seeing like a legacy actor like David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. It's kind of like, it felt like that's something that like, oh, that's not for me, in the terms of that's something that other people can do. I almost like the opportunity isn't for me. Which, finally occurred to me, obviously, the last tour, which is almost 10 years ago, which is crazy to think. 9 years ago now. Back in 2015, I thought, no, wait a second, why can't I go? I earn my own way, I earn an income, let's just try and get tickets. What's interesting as well recently is, of course, Oasis have announced their reunion tour. Not a fan of Oasis at all, by the way, but it has been interesting keeping up with the debacle with the ticket sales, the demand there, and the inflated prices that's going on there, and the dynamic costing, or whatever they call it, where it's just, I mean, I thought it was bad for the latest, what I was paying for those tickets. I mean, it pales in comparison to how people are getting shafted on the Oasis tickets, so that's ridiculous, and something really does need to be done about that. But anyway, I digress. This is a great great set. Again, it's an entire set of his, at the time, his new solo album from 2006, On an Island, which, On an Island, I think is a bit of a grower. It's a very bucolic, mellow album. But again, if you're a fan of like Gilmour's guitar work, I don't see why you wouldn't be a fan of this necessarily. And some songs just have a kind of quiet, cumulative power. Like, for example, Pocket Full of Stones, I think is a really good song. I've always been a fan of the Blue as well, which shows like kind of his mastery of the whammy pedal. Yeah, I mean, I'd say my least favourite track, actually, perhaps controversial on an Island, is Take a Breath, which is kind of probably the heaviest track. I think it actually just doesn't fit with the rest of the album, even though it's probably a nice departure from that album for people who want the heavier stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of more of a fan of the Where We Start. I actually like as a closer as well for the album. I think it does some, songs from Dark Side, and of course it features a guest appearance by David Bowie. Doing Arnold Lane and Comfortably Numb. The vocals on Comfortably Numb, vocals on Arnold Lane. And yeah, it's a really, really good concert. This is the DVD. I never got the chance to own the Blu-ray, which is long out of print. I think even the DVD is out of print now. If not, it goes for quite expensive prices. Then, on the back end of the same tour, really, in 2007, he did the Live in Gdansk concert, the Gdansk shipyard in Poland, which is kind of the famous place where the Solidarity, I think, is it Lech Walesa, I think, if I'm not butchering his name, where the Solidarity movement started. So it's a kind of tribute to I don't know if it was the anniversary of Solidarity or not. I think it was. 3-disc set, 2 CDs, and then you got the DVD of the concert on disc 3. There were I think 5-disc sets originally out for this, but at the time I could only afford poor me could only afford the 3-disc version. But I'm happy with this anyway, and this has had a lot of wear and tear. Particular highlights on this, I'd say A Great Day for Freedom is a fantastic, almost kind of inspired performance by, it feels like it's a slightly slower tempo, that song, but the solo, Gilmour's trademark bends are just fantastic in there. And he just is kind of real, for him, quite fast lick towards the end of the solo. It's a real nice emotional crescendo, and it's like, oh, where did that come from? And he seems quite pleased with himself when you look at him and happy with that performance, so that's really nice. But I think he's quite on fire in this concert. I like he does Fat Old Son on here from, God, that's way back from, Fat Old Son is I think on Atom Heart Mother, but I might be wrong. Yes, and Echoes, which of course Gilmour will never perform now because this is the last time he performed with Richard Wright, and or at least the last tour. Richard Wright passed away, unfortunately, from cancer within a year of this. So that's unfortunate. He said he will never do Echoes again as a result because of the interplay between the two of them on that, in particular on that song. So that's a particular highlight on this concert. I actually prefer this version of Echoes to the Albert Hall version. Actually, I just think I like there's a lot more improv in this one, I think. So yeah, there's that. That's always worth a listen and a watch. And then, of course, this one means a lot to me just because I saw him on this tour, I think. And at the time, I thought it was going to be the last time I saw him. So this is the T-shirt from this tour when I saw him at the Royal Albert Hall, Rattle That Lock T-shirt. And it has the tour dates on the back of it. And this is the Live at Pompeii concert, which is a pretty magical concert because it's the first time anyone's performed at that Pompeii amphitheatre since Pink Floyd did in the early 70s, right? Which was a concert performed for no one, but it makes that famous concert film, Live in Pompeii. And that was done to like an empty audience, which gives it that kind of eerie, ethereal atmosphere. But here it is to an audience, and it's pretty magical. It's pretty beautifully shot, and the production and the lighting's fantastic, of course, which is as you would expect. But I actually went to see this in the cinema. They did like a cinema release, like an edited down version of this concert, which was really cool to watch and listen to it in the cinema. But yeah, on here it's kind of got tracks from Rattle That Lock album, which I did like on the whole, actually, Rattle That Lock, the album. Faces of Stone, I think, is a particular highlight. In Any Tongue has a kind of trademark kind of extended Gilmour solo that's really emotive and powerful. And yeah, it's again a great concert, and it has a great rendition of Comfortably Numb again on here. Yeah, some really, and the version of In Any Tongue is really good on here as well. And he's got some like kind of like Sorrow hits a bit harder, although I mean the Pulse version of Sorrow I think is unbeatable in my opinion. And this has like both audio tracks, audio CDs and of the concert and the it's a nice limited edition set. This is booklet and poster, hardback book and poster, and even some art cards. So, which is kind of nice. And then, yeah, like I say, the Blu-ray and the I see we've got another booklet in here as well, which is kind of more about the venue, and then the Blu-rays and the CDs in there. So that's like a lovely set. And I'm hoping he'll do a release of the concert. Maybe he'll film some of the concerts that he does here, and maybe he'll hopefully, for those that didn't get a chance to get a ticket, like do some more dates, extend the tour maybe a little bit. Maybe this is like a testing ground because he's got a bit of a new lineup. And I've heard he's enjoyed recording this album so much. He says it's his best work since he's done since Dark Side, which, considering the high regard I hold a lot of this Floyd 70s albums, I doubt that, but it could be, who knows, maybe his best solo album, although I'm a fan of all of his solo albums really as well. But he said he wants to go back into the studio straight away and make another album. So who knows, maybe there's more tours ahead. Gilmour is 78 now, so it's a kind of thing of like, again, blink and you miss it. You kind of got to see him when you got the chance, really. Like I said, I thought the Rattle That Lock tour was the last time he'd be performing. But and of course, he sold off a lot of his guitars to that Christie's auction since, where they fetched a lot of money, but he still has a lot of gear and a lot of guitars left. So he's probably using a replica now of the famous Black Strat that sold at the time for a record amount in auction. But yeah, as you can see, I'm a massive fan. If you are as well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If not, you've probably already clicked off by now. I apologise. But yeah, I just thought I'd, in the spirit of Looking Strange coming out, like I say, I'll do an unboxing of that when it comes, and I might even do a bit of a vlog of when I go down to London to see him live. Maybe I'll do a bit of a vlog for that. If any of you are interested, let me know in that. But because it's always good to document these things, right? Especially, I think this might be his last time. Like I say, he's 78 years old now. But yeah, what do you think? Let me know of your memories, thoughts of Pink Floyd, David Gilmour. There's got to be some of you fans out there, right? So there's a lot of us, I think. And hey, who knows? Maybe this would be quite serendipitous, or you know, well, kind of unlikely that'll happen. But who knows? I might bump into someone there. Who knows? That would be quite Looking Strange, wouldn't it? See what I did there? Terrible. But yeah, if you're a fan, like I say, leave a comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Take care.